Okay, guys, today's guest is an author, life, business, and personal brand coach, as well as an international speaker, corporate consultant, and the CEO of Coach Sonia, where she's taken the world by storm with her message by inspiring her tribe to live 10 out of 10 lives. Using her life experiences and work with her clients, she coaches men, women, and businesses worldwide to activate their potential, believe in themselves completely, and be empowered to go after everything they've ever wanted in life. She's the leading expert in personal branding, business strategy, and generating long-term wealth. She has built several million-dollar businesses, and since 2011, she's coached and empowered thousands of individuals through her events, online programs, and private coaching. So please help me and welcome the woman who went from working in the family business at just 8 years old to now one of the fastest growing female entrepreneurs, coaches, and speakers in the world, and making a massive freaking impact, and the author of How to Live Your 10 Out of 10 Life, my friend, Miss Sonia Zarbatany.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. This is so fun.
I'm fired up. I'm so excited to chat to you. When you see somebody through social media on the other lens, and it's like you just know that you'd hit it off instantly. And that's as soon as because I met you, I seen you through our mutual friends Joel and Emil, and I'm like, I just know we would be a vibe together. I'm like, I've got to, I want to bring Sonia on the show, and I'm really excited to bring you to my people and unpack your brain a little bit and see what makes up you. I'm really, really excited.
Listen, I'm first of all, I have to say, Australia and Canada, we're the same people,
We
right?
are like
We're the
brothers.
same people, and it's like we get along so wonderfully well. And good people find good people, and we just feel each other right away. And yeah, that so I'm excited for this. I am about one thing, and that's just impact and giving your listeners so much value, and I'm so happy to be here, and let's get this party started.
Yeah, I love it. So tell me, because when I was putting together your bio, what I love, actually, one of the things I love most about you, I saw like your book. It's How to Live a 10 Out of 10 Life. And it's funny because literally that's one of the things I bang on about. I talk about how most people are living a 7 out of 10 life where it's just good enough. And the bad thing about it is if they were to ever drop to a 6 out of 10, it's crappy enough for them to actually do something about it. But the unfortunate thing is seven, in my opinion, gets people to sell their dreams, so instead of going further. So I want to hear from you. What's the 10 out of 10 life for you?
So it's really funny because what I'm working on right now is I'm really going back, and my whole business has been the US, has been Canada, has been the English market in such a big way. And I have a huge following in French. And I said, you know what? Like, let me go back. Like, let me go back and show them like what it is to live all out, what it is for them to really realize, what they want in their life and what that looks like. Because the thing is that your 10 out of 10 life is going to be completely different than my 10 out of 10 life, right? So for me, maybe I value, time with my kids, or I value maybe community, or I value impact, or depending on my values, that's going to completely determine what it is that I want to get to in my life. So before we even start and go into, here's how you make more money, here's how have more impact, here's how you have more kids. Well, let's first go back and actually self audit, actually go into, hold on a second, what does that even mean for you, your 10 out of 10 life? Like, what does that even mean for you? Like I'm doing with the French community, which is to play big. Like, what is that? For some, it's just to actually go on that date. The other ones is just to reach out to that person for your podcast. So what the way that I really structured this book, and I didn't launch it yet because I really want to do my French community of playing big first, and then I'm hitting up the book next. But it really is this concept of like you can actually achieve a life that you desire. We just have to determine it, get so clear on it, and then build you a strategy to get there.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a way of thinking. Like I explain to people, it's really like the standards in which you bring into your life, right? And the unfortunate thing, and I do this in my events, Sonia, I ask people, I say, who's in a relationship in the room? And then some people put their hands up. I say, keep up your hand if you think you're a good partner. And the people who come with their partners, especially, they keep up their hand, they're looking at their partner and they're like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, I fucking feel sorry for you. Because I really believe that good is what we've been sold. The good is what we've been conditioned to do, especially here in Australia. You know, good is really like, hey, you want to be just good, but you don't want to be fantastic. You don't want to stand out from the rest. You don't want to, because tall poppy syndrome, and we really get sold into, you know, sell your dreams for a paycheck, or sell your dreams, sell everything you really want to do for this way of living that's just good. And people just get used to that. And so what I really believe is like 10 out of 10 is really tapping into that world class way of thinking. That, the difference between a gold medalist and someone who comes bronze could be that a couple milliseconds, but someone who becomes a gold and fourth place completely forgotten about, no one even talks about ever, could literally just be the difference of less than a second. And it's the tiniest little thing, and that's what I really believe in as well. So what are some ways that you believe people can really start to tap into that real bigger way of thinking, that world-class way of thinking, that 10 out of 10? Because it's if they can't really get to that or grasp the concept of obtaining a life that's 10 out of 10, then they won't actually take the action towards it, right? So I think the first thing is really coming with that big level of thinking, right? So how do people kind of tap into that if they've been conditioned their whole life to think small?
So the question that you're asking is, how do they develop the mindset to actually believe that they can become the person that does the steps needed in order to become the person who wins, the person who steps into action, right? So it's really about alignment, right? Here's how you actually do this. Number one is you actually have to believe that it's possible. Most people, and I'm doing this in my French community as well, in Quebec and in it's like, it's almost been conditioned that playing small is okay. It's good, because playing small is safe. Nobody, everyone likes you when you're just a kind person and just doing your little thing. You're not intimidating to anybody. You don't make other people feel uncomfortable of, the mirror that they're portraying onto themselves. Like, it's good here. Like, it's safe here, So society has really been conditioning us to say, hey, there's nothing wrong with playing small. There's nothing wrong with a salary. There's nothing wrong with, having your little life. However, if you actually look within and you take the time to actually tap in and go, and listen, and just hear, what's that hunger? Like, what's that little butterfly inside of you that's saying, no, you're meant for more. You're meant for more. And the thing is, it's so easy for us to, put that aside and say, no, it's okay. And then we make everything okay. And we create a story out of being okay. But when you actually take a step back and you go, I'm so meant for more. I'm meant for not just good relationships, fucking epic relationships. I'm not just meant for a relationship that we are best friends with, a great sexual relationship too. I'm not just made to be a good mom or a good dad, but I want to do epic things with my kids. And I want to raise, some kind, generous, great kids that are happy in their life. And, in business is the same thing. We are conditioned to say, no, it's enough. But what if it wasn't? What if that was enough? But then what if there was more?
Yeah.
What if there was more abundance for you, more friendships for you, more life that you can just wake up in the morning and just go, I love this. I'm in love with my life, and I'm in love with the life that I get to live.
Yeah, I love it. Have you always thought like this? Or was there something that come along or happened to you, or anything that happened in your life where you're like, man, I gotta start playing bigger?
I was the total outcast. I was born in Morocco, and I, was raised. Then I was moved at the age of 3. I didn't know my dad, my biological dad. My mom had me at 21. I came to Montreal and I didn't have these, I didn't have those role models. I didn't have that modeling. I didn't know what it was. So I had to then create, I had to create this story in my life. I had to create this world where I was able to achieve certain things. And I made this whole world up in my head. I made it up in my head. And I said, okay, well, here's the kind of relationships that I would like to have. And here's what the definition of my marriage would be and my family would be. And here's the kind of mom that I would like to be. And I literally wrote it up. And that's when I got into such deep personal development and became a coach at the age of 23. Like I went into Landmark at 23 years old. Not because I was like, ooh, let me go become a coach. Nobody was a coach. It wasn't a thing. It was just like, I'm severely messed up. I, have been proposed to 3 times. I said no 3 times. It's not them.
Wow.
No. It's got to be me. So I just was like, I need to figure myself. What do I even want? What do I want out of life? And that's when I went deep. And when I do things, I become obsessed about them. And for me, I was like, hold on a second, like personal development and shifting your mindset is going to be the key to everything. Like everything.
So yeah, so you've been in the coaching industry for quite a while now, probably long before it was cool. And
Yes.
and I think I'm not sure what it's like over there in Montreal or in Canada, but here in Australia, it's like it's peaking. Like every second person, are like, I'm just gonna become a coach now. It's like one day they're a receptionist, and the next day they're like, I'm just a coach, and I'm gonna help you change your life. And I just get positive. I'm like, how does that make sense? But how, speaking into this, how can we, I guess, assure the standard of the coaching industry? Because as it is growing, and it is a fantastic industry, and I think we do need more coaching stuff in the world. How can we like keep the standard, and B, for the people listening to this, how can they be aware of really, like, if they're looking for someone to work with or listen to, take advice from, how do they pinpoint the person to really take advice from when, it looks like every second person is a coach?
Yeah. Yeah. That's like it's such a funny thing that happens because, and especially during during COVID, everybody was
Mm.
like, wait, I want to help people. I want to help people. I'm really good. Or like their friends tell them they give good advice. So it's like, I should become a coach, and then they see people on socials, they see all these online courses, they hear, stories and testimonials of all this money being done online. They see people working from home, just talking to people. They figure I'm good at talker. They want to listen to me. I have good advice. Let me go become a coach. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. So many coaches are uncertified, and so many certifications actually don't mean anything. It's like a personal trainer. It's the same thing. But why wouldn't you do your proper due diligence before? It's the same thing. We can have the same conversation with personal trainers. You know how many of them, naturopath, personal trainers, like do your due diligence. Why are they the best? What are their results with actual coaching clients? Do you know people that they've coached? Do you have testimonials? Can you speak to people that they've coached? Can you go deeper into how specifically will you get me those results that I'm looking for? Because just making people feel better is not coaching people. Giving people your advice, that's not coaching. Coaching is actually not giving advice. It's actually a deep listening, asking the right question and enabling your client to come up with their own answers. We are not doctors. We're not supposed to tell you what to do. That's consulting. That's not coaching. We are supposed to help you discover it so that then you can sit in it, and then you on your own can start to shift, can go into deep reprogramming, and then from this new space we can then create what you need in your life. So that's the truth between somebody that is, I've been doing this a lot, like almost 20 years. Like that's a long time. So which is, it doesn't mean anything. There's some wonderful coaches that have been doing it for years. However, do your due diligence. This is the most important decision you can make, is who gets to allow you to go into the real depth of who you are and develop your ultimate potential.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation with a friend actually yesterday, because it's also a theme that, like, I've seen like business coaches and stuff. They say, we help our clients get more results, right? Or increase their income. And then I dug into, and I'm like, well, usually how they help people do it, they say to the people, well, you just got to double your prices. You got to increase your prices, charge your worth, and all this sort of stuff. And I question it straight up, but I'm like, how you can't just tell, like, let's say little Sally, who was a receptionist yesterday, and now tomorrow she's this new certified coach. because she did a 1 week NLP course. But
Yeah.
then, but now you're telling her she's going to start charging $500 an hour and all those sorts of things, but not actually focusing on the deliverable, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us, like, because here's the thing, like if I'm going to look at going, okay, I'm going to increase my prices, I'm, as a business mind and actually genuinely caring about the impact I'm delivering, I'm going to look at it and be like, if I'm going to increase my prices, how am I making my product or my deliverable 10 times better, right? So I want to talk to you about business, right? Because
Yes, let's
I
go. I
yeah.
love this, baby. Let's go.
Because I was chatting with a friend yesterday, and I say, I think the main reason majority of people get into business is because they don't want a job, not because they're actually good at business or want to create impact and all these sorts of things. So, you know, when we're talking about business, like you grew up, you said you're working with a family business at 8 years old, right? So I'm
Yeah.
assuming business has been in your blood since the very beginning. What have you seen
Yeah.
people get wrong when it comes to starting their own business? Let's start there.
You know what? I have to tell you, these are great questions. I have so many, I'm invited to so many podcasts, and I feel like it's always the same question. These are really good questions. No, but it's true. Like, good for you. Like, I really just want to commend you on that, because these are very valuable questions,
So
because I feel like, I feel like everyone wants to become an entrepreneur. It's like that whole thing, like, ooh, become an entrepreneur, own your own business, do your own business. Like, guys, it's a lie. Like, what are you talking? You will never work more. You're never gonna work more. I mean, look, it's 5:30. My kids are here. They're having a dinner there, and I'm fully locked in with you. Like, if I had a 9 to 5, I can come home, turn my phone off, and just be all in like this. So trust me, it's not for everyone. And that's okay. There's something wonderful about a 9 to 5 or whatever your business, not your business, but if you're an employee, sorry, that's wonderful. Do you understand how good that is? You get to show up to work, do what you need to do, leave work, have a life on the side, do all of that. Like, I don't understand when that became a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing. Now, to answer specifically your question, which is, what did I learn from being in a family business since I'm 8 years old? My kids have been listening to my husband, me, my stepsons. They have been indoctrinated with business since they're born. Like, my kids see me plan my week every week. They plan their week. My kid's 5.
That's
my
amazing.
daughter is no, but we don't even, because for me, it's about leading by example. I don't have to teach her things. She just listens. She's actually listening to this right now. And it's just like slowly dripping in and going, oh, it's true. When you get to become an entrepreneur, own your own business, you have to be so obsessed with what you do, because you have to become the best at it. We talked about coaching before. It's like, well, what makes an unbelievable coach is somebody that just eats it, that breathes it, that it's not just, I did a certification for a weekend. It's like, I literally can read your body language like there's nobody's been. I know if you're looking left. I know if you are aligned to what you're saying. I know if you're lying. I am a monster at what I do because I'm obsessed with it. So if you want to become the best of the best, it's not about just upping your prices. It's not one trick. It's like, become such an expert at what it is that you're phenomenal at. That doesn't mean you have to be working on everything. Just know what you're really, really good at and become the best at that, and then build a business around it.
Yes. What's the most important thing to focus on when you just start out in business? What's the most important thing?
Learn. Forget about the money. I think people, especially kids today, like, they're so into like, how much am I going to make? How much am I going to make? Make nothing. Go learn for free. Intern. Like, it's not about the money right now. If you could stay, for kids, it's like, if you can actually live at your parents and just intern at the best of the best businesses, do it. It's not about the money right now. You can be broke when you're 20, not when you're 40 with 2 kids. But when you're 20, learn from the best, intern, go work beyond anything like that. Become so that you know exactly what it is that you love, what it is that you hate, who it is that you want to work with, develop skill sets so that then you can either start your own thing with skill sets. Imagine you're working or interning for somebody else on their dime, not on yours. You're doing the mistakes on their dime.
Yeah. So right now, so for the last year, I've been building my own like events business, right? We've got the fastest growing personal development company here in Australia, and fucking killing it. And it's
Loved
sick.
it. Let's go. I'm coming to Australia.
Yeah, so we'll bring you down, absolutely.
Let's
Um,
go.
so for the last year, I've been really building, I guess, a traditional business. So before that, I was a carpenter, and then I built a network marketing business, right? So I did, I was the top income earner in my company for my age, in network marketing. That was for 8 years, right? So I learned a lot of stuff about business. But the awesome and bad thing about network marketing is it's so simple to do. So like all the customer stuff was done, the product delivery stuff was done, the marketing stuff was done. It was all given to us. So it was really, really, really simple. So now when I'm in this new realm where I'm doing everything, I'm like, holy shit. And now I'm thinking, I'm like, man, my only ever qualification before this was building houses. And then I was just like a savage at, sales and online marketing, stuff like that. And now I'm like learning, okay, this CEO stuff, this operations, what do you mean system? What do you mean CRM? And all this type of shit.
Yes.
And I'm now asking like some of my friends that have growing like big businesses. I'm like, can I just come and hang out with you in your office for like a day or something? And I'm actually going to go to one of my friends' offices. They've got a massive growing building company. I'm like, because I just want to see the inside. I've got no fucking idea what I'm doing here. And because that's exactly where my mind went. I'm like, how can I get in and just offer my time and my skills for free so I can learn the inside of someone else's business? But I think, I don't know what gets in the way of people, like ego or something like that.
Well, there's different ways of doing it. So I also have an agency, right? I do personal branding for the biggest coaches, speakers, basically on the planet. And I have a complete agency of my real X factor, like what I do best is strategy. I could sit with anybody, sit down, build their entire strategy. Like it's a thing. Okay. So my brain works like that. My tribe is all whiteboards. My house, I have whiteboards, even in my gym downstairs. Like it's a thing. So I can sit with you for half an hour and I could build your business. I could build the strategy and then I could build the messaging of that strategy so that your social media, because again, the importance of a personal brand right now, if you're a coach, a speaker, a consultant, anything, like a person that sells services, you need to build your personal brand. And when you're building, especially for events, like right now, I'm doing like so many launches with my clients and we're building their entire plans for 2023. The most important thing is it's always about your strategy. So it's always about going, all right, here's the next events that I want to do in the next, 30, 60, 90 days. And then we work it back. So who's the event about? What is the messaging that you're going to do for your events too? Then the launch campaign, that has to be so perfectly executed because whether or not you're running ads, whether or not your messaging on your organics are like what that messaging is. And then you could go into the systems, right? So for me, for example, how I do it in my agency is I build the strategy. That's my thing. Then we go into content strategy. And then I have a whole team that will do everything from the opt-ins, the ClickFunnels, the websites. And then I have a team that will build the content creation. We shoot all of their content. Then we run social media platforms too. So we do everything from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. But each of these platforms need its own strategy. So the reason why I'm telling you this is, do I have to be the one who knows everything? No. But I like this weekend, I wanted my newsletter out. I was like, oh, let me go into my newsletter and I was sending, like, I don't do this shit, but I know how to do it. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So that when I do hire, I don't have to, somebody won't come up with a crazy proposal because I will have done it. I'll be like, no, I know how much time it takes to create a newsletter. No, I don't have to know how ClickFunnels works or how your website or whatever, but I know that enough that I can actually execute it. I don't want to, but I know enough so that I can build the business with key people. And then I bring in the experts and I grow team.
That's exactly what I'm learning as well. I'm like, as you like, I was about to shoot an email right before because I had like 3 minutes spare for our podcast. I was like,
Yes.
I don't know if you think the same. I'm like, 3 minutes. What can I do in 3 minutes? I'm gonna do this email, and then I'm like, just it's probably gonna take it's like a 10 minute. Just relax for a second. Because I was like, I was about to send it to my team, and I'm like, no, fuck it, I'll just do it because it's faster for me to probably just do it right now. But I'm learning the exact same thing. But I hate emails. I hate playing with the funnels. I hate even looking at Monday.com, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And my team hate the fact that I hate it because they tag me in all this shit to look at, but I look at it every few days. But what I understand is that as well. It's like in business, there's gonna be probably more things that you just don't want to do than there is gonna be things that you do need to do.
Yeah,
And
but then you create, listen, here's what I get what you're saying, but you don't have to do this shit, okay? The fact that your team doesn't like you being on, you can't pay me enough to be on Monday, Slack, Basecamp, I have them all. All of my clients, like they're all, but here's how I do it. Every morning at 8:30 to 9:30, I have our daily hustle, which is my team. We hop on. I do it from my treadmill. Okay. My treadmill, you've probably seen on my stories. Like I do a lot. Like I just 8:30 to 9. It's like my kids leave my house at 7:30 in the morning. I go down, coffee, this, that. 8:30, I'm on my treadmill. I walk and they tell me, like, I don't want to know the Slack thing. Deal with it. If we can't deal with it, then you will tell me. So that half an hour, I get so much done rather than this constant, stopping every 2 seconds, check an email, check a WhatsApp, check it. There's too much communication and so much of it they can handle on their own.
So who's the most important person, I guess? Because when you're starting and scaling,
yeah,
who do you think is the most important person to hire first?
Well, it depends the level of business, right? But let's say you're at you're just like starting out, maybe coaching, maybe. To me, it's been my assistant, because I don't, same thing. Like I'm a coach, like I love to go in my head. Like I love to create offers, create strategies, create programs, create events, create, like, this is what I do. So for me to be on emails, for me to do the communications, all this kind of stuff, I can't. Invoice, like, so hiring a really great executive personal assistant, like I have two, but my Patricia, for me, which is, she's been with me since day one, and she can run, or, book my tickets, make sure all my stuff is taken care of so that I can be, the talent.
I think it's so important. Like I've just hired a wicked freaking executive assistant, and it's been an absolute game changer.
Right.
And I don't know about you. I don't know if you can agree on this one or not, but I hired before I was ready. Because I think, I don't know, like I'm a ready, fire, aim kind of guy. I'm like, so if I take action on something where I'm not quite ready yet, I know that it'll actually force me to do what's required to catch up to that. And when I was looking at it, I was like, I really need like somebody full time. But then to think about going, man, hiring a full time person, putting someone's salary on me now, I'm like, it's an interesting sort of thing to start to think about.
Yeah.
But as soon as I did it, the level of difference that I've been playing at, the things we've attracted to us, the planning for next year, it's 10x like easily what's actually we're putting out in it. But yeah, things are happening. It's super exciting.
Do you know what stops people from doing that, or what's the next struggle with that? So I really work from like everyone from like a startup all the way to like massive corporations, right? So when you're in kind of, startup mode, it's always easier what you just said, which was you 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes before our podcast, which is like, you know what? It's going to take me less time to just shoot it out myself than to give it to my assistant, to da, da, da. So that's what ends up happening, which is like the founder that's used to putting all of the hats and everything. Then you hire a person full time, but they don't understand that they have to train that person, that person will make mistakes. They will make mistakes, and that it's okay for them to make mistakes, and it is better use of your time to let that person, do its mistake than to come back and do it all yourself. And then you're not empowering that person to develop their own skill set. Like I love team. I love team, and I love empowering my people to find their passion within my business. Like if they can find what their big goal and what they love to do within my business, and I just empower and build businesses around them, like it's really what I love to do, probably more than anything. But that means give them breath to think, to develop into what they want to be, and to really make kind of, learn new skills, develop new skills, bring in new opportunities. I love investing in team and people like so much.
Yeah. So what are your key steps, I guess, so you just said one of the biggest things that's helped you is helping your team discover their passions within your business. How do you help your team? How do you discover what your team is really passionate about?
I ask so many questions, and I'm a like I read people for a living. Like it's a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. But like,
You
are
know what
you
I mean?
looking
Like,
for what
I do.
are you looking for what they value? Are you looking for
Everything.
their strengths or?
Yeah, and I test people constantly, because the other thing with my life is I'm very, I'm super public, right? So I always have to make sure that people come to me with the right intentions, like it's a pretty, social media is a funny thing, right? So sometimes the clout and what, they all want to be, with Coach Sonia and do all these, it's a fun life. Like one of my greatest value is fun and experiences. So if you tell me, Sonia, we're hitting up a retreat, like it's done and executed, and I'm like, let's fucking go. Like I don't have these fears. Like I have fears, but I turn it into excitement. So I'm not somebody who's, I really love to play and I love people. So it's like, so I really make sure that I take the time to test people, to know that their heart is in the right place, to know that I know them, that they're, that they're good, also that they're really good. And I want to know what makes them tick. Like it's really important. To me, that my business is so much about people, because I get to literally work with people and build communities and help people. Like this is my mission, is to impact, right? So I want to make sure that my soldiers and my tribe and the people that are around me have that same vision and are heart centered and are community centered and are not in ego and for them and just financials and all that stuff.
Do you ever compare yourself to other people in business and similar levels?
Well, there's nothing wrong with looking and being inspired. And, my thing is I love seeing people win. Like I love it. It makes me so happy. Like now we're friends, and like I'm gonna see your stuff, and I'm gonna be like, I cheer for my people. Like so, I compare. I'm not gonna go, oh, you're doing this and I'm not doing that. If I see you win and everything, I'm like, let's go, let's play together. Come, like I'm just that person, And a lot of people, it's hard to understand because most people are not really like that. Meaning that I just want to play, like, with Joel and Emil or anybody that I love around me. It's like, oh, they're doing amazing things. I want to cheer for them. I want to wear their t-shirt. I want to buy their stuff. I want to shout them out. And because I just want to be surrounded with really happy people that are doing epic things and are changing the world. I don't have to change the world myself. Like I could surround myself with epic people who are doing that and bring value to that. And my goal is done.
Yeah. So what's your advice for people then? Because I know a lot of people, I used to do a lot. I'm a lot better at it now. And my way to beat, I guess, comparing. So if I ever notice that I'm, scrolling Instagram or something, well, first thing I'm like, well, that's what you fucking get for scrolling Instagram. That's like my first thing. I'm like, stop scrolling shit then. But my next go-to, I instantly think of what can I be inspired or what can I admire about what they're doing, because it's just a projection of me anyway. So I'm like, so if I look at somebody else and I'm like, oh, this person or blah, 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 I know I'm actually attacking the parts of me that want that or does do that. So I flip it and go, well, what can I be admired? Like, what can I admire about this person? So what's your advice for someone that is struggling with, comparison, and they're looking to the left and the right, and they're too busy worried about what other people are doing to focus on what they're actually doing right? How can they sort of get out of that trap?
Well, the one thing you can do is turn notifications off. Like, I mean, I probably am one of the people that put out the most stories probably on Instagram. Like I could go deep, like, so many stories, but I don't consume content. Like maybe I'll consume when I get home or I'll, whatever. I just don't, I'm not somebody that strolls so much. Like maybe I'll get inspired sometimes, or if I'm bored, maybe, but it's not my thing at all. I put out content. But I'm really, really, really so obsessed with what I'm up to. And I also, when I do see other people doing epic stuff, it really makes me happy. Like I'm like, oh, this is good. Or and even people I don't know, like I see people that I don't know, and they're just like doing really fun stuff, and I'm like, oh, good girl. Like it makes me just happy to see other people win, whether I know them or not. I'm just like, that's really good. That's amazing. And I do that. Like I'll go up to like random people on Instagram sometimes, and I see that they're doing like a big win, and I'm like, I just want to tell you, that's fucking awesome. Good job. That's it. So I'm not comparing my good job to their good job. I don't know them. They don't know me. But whatever that was, they looked really happy doing that. And I just want to celebrate them for doing that.
Yeah, it comes back to that. Like, I think I learned this from, one of the first ever personal development books I read was Secrets to the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And he talks about it's like a lot of people stay broke because they look at rich, successful people and they say shit about them. It's like, oh, they're fucking rich or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, how can you ever actually achieve that if you resent that? And it's the same with comparing. If we're looking at other people that are in the same industry or whatever, but they're on their chapter 20 and you're on your chapter 3, and then you start to go, oh, but this and that and that and that. How will you ever? Because the subconscious mind wants to avoid pain, wants to avoid all that. So if we associate that with judgment and shame or whatever, then we'll do everything in our power to actually avoid getting that. So I love your way of thinking, and that's what and I've built it as like a muscle, because that's what it is. It's not like people listening to this can just, oh, okay, well, Sonia does this, Morgan does this, I'm gonna change it right now, and it's that forever. It's like it's like going to the gym, right? Like every single time I use it as a trigger when I see really rich or really successful people, I ask myself the question, what can I love about this? How can this inspire me? And I started to ask that question when I was broke as hell, years and years and years ago. When I was super broke and I'd see people absolutely killing it, I'd be like, this is fucking amazing. And then when I was in my old community, I would hear the same people like throw shade about them and talk shit about them. Oh, rich bastards, blah, 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 blah. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm so inspired by that. Look how successful look what they've done with their life. When 95% of other people just settle for good, and I've built this muscle just over time to now it's kind of second nature.
And I think, the for those who are listening to this and they're like, yeah, whatever, it sounds cool, Sonia, but how do I do this? It's like the example you just gave of you with your friends. Like for me, first of all, I don't have those friends. Like I don't hang out with people that talk shit about other people.
Yeah.
I don't meet people like that. It's not that I don't like them. I'm sure they're wonderful people. I just don't hang out with people like that. Like I don't talk about other people. If you'll tell me like it's just not, I don't have those communications. I'm uninterested also in having those. Do you know what I mean? Like if I want to hang out with you, I want to know how you're doing. I don't care how Peter or Paul is doing their business. Like I wish them well, and I hope that they're happy with what they're doing, period. So the first thing that you could do is a nice cleanup, and the second, and become allergic to people who talk about other people. I have a deep allergy for it. I hate it. I can't be around people like that. So, and then then when people do say, oh, look at these rich people or whatever, I also like learn to speak up. Like I'll be like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you mean? What's bad about that? You know what I mean? And what's bad about that? And sometimes, it's easy to just be quiet, but it's another thing to actually speak your truth and just be like, I actually don't believe that there's anything wrong with that. There's and I don't care whether they agree with me or not. I'm not out there trying to change their minds, but I'm really out there to be super aligned with what I actually believe.
Yeah. But this is why your environment is the biggest thing. Like I teach the 4 pillars of designing your dream life. And the first pillar is your environment, because the old environment I used to be around, when they would talk about, oh, rich people, or this, or that, you become the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So like, let's say, for example, if people listening to this, imagine if they had lunch just with me and you. After, they would be like, oh my God, I feel really good about myself.
Yes.
And there's no conversations about anything else. And the new normal becomes going, yeah, what's great about these rich people? And I was I shared this story actually at my last 3-day event we did. I went to 2 dinners in a day, right? A few
Hmm.
weeks ago. So the lunchtime, we went to all of my friends right now. All
Yeah.
my friends right now, we had about 15 dudes there. It was one of my mates going away and went to this new beach club that opened up on the Gold Coast here. And it was really, really, really fancy and like fucking amazing. Every single conversation was about, what are you doing? How can I help you? Hey, you've got to meet this person. You got to network with this person. Hey, this dude's doing big things. You've got to meet this person. Bam, man. And it was just this like a networking lunch, but it wasn't. We're just all catching up, but that's just what happened. And I was like, fuck. And I left there feeling so inspired, so energized. Then later that night, I went to dinner with one of my best friends. It was his wife's birthday. And these guys I grew up with, I went to school with. So everybody who came to the party were all the people that used to go to school with us. And I saw like black and white next to each other in the same day. Going
Hmm.
from one conversation, people inspiring you, uplifting you, talking about success and all this other stuff, talking about goals, dreams, and ideas. And the next one was talking about other people, blaming, complaining, how bad, oh my God, we're getting so old. And then I said to one of them, I said, well, the only problem with actually getting old is if you get to your birthday and you're still in the same position. That's the only
Hmm.
thing. I fucking love getting older because I'm progressing every single year. Like every birthday comes, it's like I get to the end of the race again. I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, how do we do this year? Like that's how it feels every single year for me. And but it really comes down to that, right? Like the power of the people we surround ourselves with will literally determine the thoughts that we have and what we believe ultimately is true about us and what we can even do. It's
Yeah, it's literally all about that. It's so exact, like it's so simple. You know, if exactly that, when that's why it's so important, the events that you go to, the circles that you have, the masterminds that you have, the people that you have around you, the coaches that you have, like all of this, it's so important because those are going to determine exactly the way that you think. And that's why, even for me on socials, like I share so much because I want to give people hope that it's actually possible. And I
mm,
don't want to I'm not trying to say that it's going to be easy because trust me, it's not. It's really not easy, especially when you throw marriage and kids and stepkids and traveling and retreats and events all over the world. Like, it's so difficult and it's not easy at all. And trying to do your best to just manage it all or create harmony in your life. Like, but I do believe that if you start to see people that you respect and that you love doing it, then you're going to go, all right, hold on a second. It's actually possible. It's not easy. It's possible. And
mm,
it can be possible for you. And that could be a new reality that you didn't even think that was possible.
yeah, I love it. What's something you wish you knew in life or business right when you started that you know now?
Hmm. I think that what I wish I knew is that you actually have everything that you need. You just really do have to take the leap. Like, you have to leap, but when I mean leap, listen to me again. Do you know how many people quit their job then hire me? I'm like, could you have hired me before you quit your job? Like, you actually need a game plan. Okay. I am not one of those coach. I'm not just gonna, you can manifest you can, meditate and manifest your way
Yeah.
into it's not that. You're gonna have to work your ass off too. Like, let's be honest here. However, that it actually is really, really possible. And you can do it in such a kind way, and you could do it in your way too. I think for me, there was so many men in when I started speaking on stages. I didn't know any other women speakers. I didn't, I thought it had to be done in a very masculine way. And I thought that people wanted to learn things about me all the time, learn things about me, but learn things from me from stage. But I think as a speaker, one of the most powerful lessons that I'm learning now, like now this year, was really the power of my story. I think for 15 years, I've been like teaching people things, how
Mm,
to scale their business, how to build a personal brand, how to shift their mindset, how to. But it's, and I never really was vulnerable or really let people into like my struggle, my story, because I was like, who really cares? Nobody cares about me. Like, it's not about me. But if you actually want to impact the world, and people care about people, and so they need to get to know you. So if you're hiding behind, just what you do and not who you are, you're missing out.
It's powerful, man. Sonia, this has been so epic.
Right?
I can't wait for three things. I can't wait to drop this episode so
Yes.
everyone can listen to it. It's gonna be fucking fantastic. I can't wait to come up and see you in Canada. I've got so many friends
Yes.
up in Canada. My mentors up in Canada, and I've never been up there yet. So we 100% need to come up there, and I can't wait for you to come down here. So we'll 100% keep in contact, and I see some sort of collaboration on an event for us 100 million% in the future, and I'm really excited for all that. So Sonia, where can everybody find you and get amongst your energy and your knowledge and everything you do?
Well, for sure, you got to follow me on Instagram. That's like the number one thing. It's at Sonia Zarbatany. That's the number one thing. That's really my platform. And then everything to do with my world, it's coachsonia.com. That's my website. And then you can have fun on whether it's Facebook, where I'm dropping my Play Big, my huge launch as well, and all over YouTube, all that stuff. But my main platform is definitely Instagram, and then hit me up on the website as well.
I love it. Cool. To wrap this up, I got one final question for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
If you were to go back to your 18-year-old self and give her 30 seconds of advice, what would it be?
My 18-year-old self. Oh, she was fun. I was fun. And honestly, like, I love that I'm still fun. My 18-year-old self played hard. I moved to LA right after school, and because I wanted to go explore. And I would tell her, like, keep exploring and keep going after your heart, and forget about what people are telling you, and just actually go and do it. And you're going to impact the world, and you're going to lead the way, not for you, but for the next generations of women. And that you have everything that you need already within you. And all of the things that you judge yourself or that other people judge you on, that actually becomes your superpower. So just lead the way and enjoy every single moment of the ride.